Hello guys, it's me, Apollonia. Welcome back to my channel. I hope we're all doing great today. So today's going to be a quick little video. I'm going to do another one right after this. It's going to be a little bit longer. I have felt the inspiration to film this for a really long time. And that is about our purpose, our passion, and if we choose a neurotic field line of work, if it really comes from a genuine place of I want to do it, it's really my passion, or if it comes from a place of I did not get this love as a child, this attention, I'm lacking, I have a void, and I'm trying to fulfill it through this neurotic line of work. Now I'm going to list those jobs because when I was younger, I really had to do some self-evaluation and self-awareness to come to this conclusion for myself in acting. So that would be 1, yes, acting, 2, musical performance, 3, dance, 4, modeling, 5, comedy, 6, influencer marketing. Now, alone, doing those things is fine. But like I said, if you're trying to fill a void through it, and it is a huge part of your identity, or that you think you want to do, but is not actually your true passion, and then we have to take a deeper look and do, it would be healing most likely with, our childhood trauma. I'm really speaking about this because it's something that I went through and something that I've always wanted to tell younger people behind me as a warning. The 2 questions that I would focus on is 1, what would you do if you weren't paid for it? Okay. And number 2, when you were a child, what did you do endlessly that you were good at that you would lose track of time of? Okay. Now, when you can answer those 2 questions, that's your true passion. And normally too, in metaphysics, we believe that basically what we experience the contrast of within our homes growing up as children, that is supposed to be what we do via our line of work. Okay. It's supposed to be the inspiration, as long as we're not negatively hitting up against it and around our parents or our caregivers who inspired that desire, and we go full forward with it, then we have lined up with our true passion. Okay. So I wanted to say, when I was younger, when I was 17, I wasn't even 18 yet, I got into Cal State Fullerton. I had received a full ride scholarship, and it was for acting. I also lived with a fairly well-known actor from the 70s and 80s. He's also a director. I lived with him and his girlfriend. It wasn't like one of those casting couch, situations. It was not at all. And in those classes and with him, I had realized that it wasn't really my passion. It was because I came out of foster care. I was told to do it from my mother, who was a stage mom. But it was to fulfill that void of I'm not loved, I haven't gotten this appreciation, answering those 2 questions. Like, I didn't want to do it for hours on end, and I didn't want to do it if I didn't get paid for it, certainly, but what was that answer that is still, of course, my passion, and that I do outside of the line of work I do now, is singing. So they had asked us in school, like the first day of my 2nd year there, why do you want to be an actor? And I literally was there with the fucking pen, and I was like, and I was like, because my mom said so, because, and then I was like, fuck, just because, like, I just am trying to fill this void of attention, and, that I don't actually want to do that. Why am I here? And then I had dropped out, and I switched my major. And I also realized that when I went from performing and acting, which I didn't actually genuinely want, to performing and singing, and even like we would do constructive criticism, which I don't 100% believe in, and we'll do that Actually, we'll do that topic in another video. They would tell me, you know, you go really inwards, like with your acting, like you just kind of shut down. But like when you're singing, it's outwards. And I noticed on my own, like when I would act, it would be like, oh, give to me, give me love, you know, give me attention, look at me. But when I would sing, it would be an equal back and forth between me and the audience, where, okay, just like in a relationship, in a healthy relationship, I'm going to give love and affection, and so are they. It's, you know, not too much, not too little, just equal give and take. And I noticed with the singing, it was like that. It was, let me give to the audience first, and they give back to me, and we feed each other's energy, right? Now, there's always going to be some dumb people in the audience that are going to be jealous, and you just got to ignore them. But I noticed that difference. And that has made all the difference in my performing now as a singer, is that, yes, I have to genuinely connect with the lyrics, right? Like as you would with a monologue or a dialogue as an actor, right? But it also, I learned this, had to come from a vulnerable place for myself, where it was like, a lot of people think that, oh, being, you know, a performer, that you don't have to really be vulnerable, that you're putting on the character, no matter whatever kind of performing it is, and that you get to shield yourself and be loved and adored as that character. But that's not true if you want to be successful as a performer. So I learned with the older actor I used to live with, we're still friends and everything, and he had told me, you know, when you're doing some form of art and it's neurotic, we've talked about this a lot, me and him. He would say, you know, you're using your own body, whether it's dance, singing, or acting. It's not like you're even an artist behind a paintbrush, or you're even a writer behind a pen, you know? You are using your own body, your own emotions, and your own self. And you actually have to be very vulnerable and very open to be successful in that line of work, but with yourself. Because even if I was doing acting, I had to tap into that character within myself, you know, or if I'm singing someone else's song, I have to understand, just, you know, like a script, similarly, where that's coming from, that person, their thinking, you know, to connect, and you can feel the emotion within it, right? Without it being forced. So you actually have to be very vulnerable. And to do that, I had to do a lot of healing. And that's why, even though by this actor, I was actually offered a movie role, and I was approached by his friends. I had all the hookups then, because I was using law of attraction. I was feeling it. And this big director, I'm not going to name her, but she liked me so much, she even gave me her necklace at an auction that I met her at, that he was at, and he brought me to, and then he brought his rich, famous friends. So anyways, she had told me, you know, I think you have something really special and you can make it really big, but you know, just keep practicing and going at it. And I remember, though, that she had said something like with the vulnerability and the healing as well. And I turned down that role at that time because I probably would have been more well-known by now, or well-known, famous, whatever. But I knew that I needed to heal. I knew that even if I became big, you know, which I thought, as you know, being an actor was my dream at that time, it really is singing, I knew I would be destroyed, because I was so broken from my home growing up and in foster care, and so much abuse in my life. I knew I'd probably go on drugs, alcohol, be fucking stupid, and then just wind up dead. And I told myself, it's not worth it. And you need to figure out who you are and your identity, you know, because most of the time people turn to spirituality because they are lacking something from their parents, or from at least one parent. There was some caregiver that wasn't there for them. For me, it was everybody. So I went on a healing journey. I denied the role. I'm still friends with him. But it has made all the difference that I don't need that attention now. I don't need to be well known now. I don't need you know, any of that. I have learned to fulfill myself via meditations. And yes, we're still social creatures, you know, as humans. Yes, I still like that attention from time to time, but do I need to be a big name? No, I don't. You know, and now I come from a place of being more open and vulnerable with people who deserve it. Let me clarify, not with assholes, but with people who deserve it. And, you know, it's a place where I help them, and it feels good in return that I'm helping them and I get that energy back. Like, that's why I do these weekly meditations. And very soon I'll be releasing my music on here. And what is my music about? Healing, you know? So if I become the queen of healing one day, that'd be great. If I become known for that, that'd be great. But if not, that's okay too. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, guys. Just make sure that it really is your passion, that you're not trying to fulfill some void if you're in some neurotic form of work. You know, I took the long spiritual path, and it has made all the difference. Doing self-love meditations, filling up your own cup so that you can give to others. As corny as that is, it is 100% the truth. Okay? And you can't, vibrationally, knowing about law of attraction, you can't bring in what you want that is meant for you unless you're at a high level, okay, of love. All right? So I probably will do another video about acting and how I was afraid of how the law of attraction would interfere with the acting and cause personal events in my own life. I will do a video like that, not today, but yeah, that is on the list. Alrighty guys, well, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like me, please subscribe or follow depending on what channel I'm on. Until next time, bye guys.